Hello, I am Dr. Kyoung-Hee Kim, Professor of Architecture and Director of the Integrated Design Research Lab at UNC Charlotte. This is another lecture under Regenerate function of Sustainable Building Envelope. We will explore how building facades can be designed as living ecological systems through a regenerative design approach. As a guiding inspiration, we refer to environmentalist Paul Hawken's insight. To reverse global warming, we need to reverse global degeneration. This quote underscores the lecture's theme, moving beyond sustainability as mere damage mitigation towards regeneration of resources and natural systems. In other words, buildings shouldn't only reduce energy use, they should actively restore our environment and sequester carbon. By the end of the lecture, it will be clear how regenerative facade strategies align with Hawken's call, reversing degeneration by designing facades that give back to the climate, to biodiversity, and to community well-being. This slide outlines the three essential functions of a sustainable facade: protect, promote, and regenerate. Detailed explanations are available in the Sustainable Facade Introduction video. Building enclosures are more than barriers. They transform into living, regenerative skins that give back more benefits to nature than what they take. Solar enclosures, discussed in the previous video, can generate clean energy from sunlight. Biofacades sequester CO2 through photosynthesis and help mitigate global warming. They also grow lush biomass that not only nourishes ecosystems and provides food, but also produces renewable feedstock for biodiesel. Biofacades and green roofs can harvest rainwater and filter it, supplying fresh water while mitigating surface water runoff in urban environments. A truly regenerative building doesn't just do less harm, it actively improves its surroundings, showing how our built world can be self-renewing. Buildings are a major contributor to carbon emissions. Building operation accounts for approximately 22% of world CO2 emissions, while building materials manufacturing are responsible for 11% of world CO2 emissions. This highlights that it is important to implement not only net zero energy buildings, but also circular economy, where we can minimize impacts from recycling building materials instead of continual production of new construction materials. This slide visualizes what 1 ton of CO2 looks like as a gas. Each blue sphere is roughly 30 feet in diameter. It's a powerful reminder that even if invisible, buildings release tons of CO2 every day, and these spheres quickly add up. This highlights why sustainable facades must go beyond efficiency, and they need to help regenerate the environment by actively reducing carbon. This slide illustrates a different rate of carbon uptake depending on plant type. With ample sunlight, biological matter in facades increases CO2 uptake via photosynthesis, contributing to carbon sequestration and energy conservation. Biofacades turn building exteriors into active carbon sinks. Sequestration is directly related to the biomass of a tree's leaves. It's important to note that mature trees do not sequester carbon at a faster rate than actively growing adult trees. In comparison, microalgae are highly efficient at photosynthesis because their entire structure consists of photosynthetic cells. Let's switch to another regenerative attribute. Biofacades integrate nature as a building enclosure and can contribute to urban ecology and support biodiversity. There are many important environmental, economic, and social values to biodiversity. We can use biodiversity metrics such as alpha, beta, and gamma diversity. Look at those bubbles on the right corner. Let's assume each bubble is a building with biofacades. Alpha diversity refers to how many species exist in each building site by counting the number of different flora and fauna. Beta diversity compares species diversity between two buildings. In our example, a high beta diversity shows between Site 1 and Site 2, which means that they host very different species within each building site. On the other hand, the beta diversity between Sites 1 and 3 are low, and it means they have mostly the same species. Gamma diversity is the overall diversity in 3 building sites, counting all species observed across multiple sites. These metrics can be used not just for evaluating ecological values, but also for designing and managing biofacades to support varied ecosystems and the overall network of biofacades toward broader urban biodiversity goals. This is a university building enclosed with modular system with local species. Alpha diversity can guide the selection of diverse plant and habitat types for individual facades to support a broad range of species at each site. Biofacades exemplify the shift from sustainable to regenerative design, moving facades from being energy efficient to improving the atmospheric carbon balance. This section highlights how integrating life into the building skin, whether algae, moss, or higher plants, can dramatically enhance a facade's environmental performance toward the carbon neutrality goal. In addition to the environmental benefits we discussed earlier, like carbon reduction and supporting biodiversity, biofacades can also play a direct role in improving indoor air quality. What you're seeing in this image is a conceptual example of how nature-based systems, such as integrated plants in Atrium, can be strategically placed to filter indoor air and release oxygen-rich air back into space. Atrium has access to the sunlight and support air circulation for photosynthesis. Pollutant-laden air is drawn in and passed through vegetation systems and then returned as cleaner, oxygen-enriched air. This is another interior application along the window where a soil-based vegetation system filters air toxins and provides clean air. The clean air filtration helps maintain healthier indoor environments and reduces reliance on ventilation systems to bring in outdoor air as fresh air. This concept becomes especially important when outdoor air cannot be admitted, such as during wildfire smoke events. Architectural design strategies to integrate nature are important because biofacades help transform buildings from passive enclosures into active agents within a broader network of urban ecology. These 8 precedent studies demonstrate how various architectural systems integrate nature through different geometric forms, facade structures, and types of vegetation. For example, nature is integrated through terraces in Acros, Japan, balconies in Nouvel, Malaysia, an interior courtyard in CapitaSpring, Singapore, rooftop terraces in the inner harbor of Baltimore, USA, vertical ribbing in House E, Zurich, horizontal ribbing in Stacking Green, Vietnam, vegetative terraces in city garden layers in the UK, and green balconies in the vertical forest in Milan, Italy. These elements serve as primary architectural elements of vegetation while also defining the interface between architecture and ecology. As far as geometric forms of biofacades are concerned, several projects use stepped or terraced forms to create cascading green layers such as Acros, city garden layers, and Baltimore Inner Harbor, while others use stacked box geometry in Stacking Green, Vietnam, and vertical forest, Milan, or curved and sculpted vertical cavities such as CapitaSpring, Singapore. Grid or lattice facades, as seen in Le Nouvel, allow modular planter integration. Biofacades integrate different vegetation density and types. Light vegetation with climbing vines is featured in House E, Zurich, and Le Nouvel, Malaysia. Moderate layering using shrubs and perennials is evident in Stacking Green and city garden layers. High biomass, tree-scale vegetation is used in vertical forest, Milan, Acros, and CapitaSpring, where full trees and dense foliage dominate the facade. Parkroyal on Pickering Street Hotel, located in Singapore, integrates nature into its architectural design. It is 16 stories tall, with an approximately 30,000 square meters floor area and 367 hotel rooms. On every few floors, broad terrace gardens create open-air, landscaped corridors and lounges for guests. The visitors and urban goers can walk through this ground level as it is openly accessible. enjoying fresh air and lush greenery and tall ceilings. This slide shows the ground level of the hotel. The design features open, tall public space created by tall columns and terraced forms that mimic natural landforms like terraced rice fields or sedimented earth terrain. The lobby canopy with such nature forms and vegetations creates a seamless transition between architecture, nature, and the city. The lobby space has a visual and spatial connection to surrounding vegetation, reinforcing constant relationship with natural elements. This slide shows the elevated garden terraces. This space integrates greenery not only into the facades but also into the programming of hotel amenities, wrapping around social spaces, relaxation zones, and even architectural features like these colorful pods. The elevated amenities serve as interstitial green spaces for urban ecology, supporting pollinators, rainwater harvesting, and microclimate cooling. Hotel guests always have a connection to greenery visually and physically. The interior finishes using natural materials like wood further complement this biophilic experience, promoting a feeling of well-being and harmony with nature. This project is the Acros Symphony Hall in Fukuoka, Japan. This biofacades application exemplifies both social and ecological functions, where the public can freely access the terraced park on the facade. As a public walking space, biofacades help enrich urban experience and reinforce the openness and connection between people and nature. Following Acros, the second project also incorporates a walkable vertical biofacades with a different spatial strategy. While Acros's public stairs are arranged in a stepped configuration, gently ascending along the inclined biofacades, this project features vertical circulation paths integrated with expressive horizontal landings. These steep walkways contrast well with the vertical landscapes, creating a dynamic promenade both physically and visually from the street level. Both projects are good examples of biofacades as social and environmental infrastructure. This video was supported by UNC Charlotte in collaboration with the US-ASEAN Smart Cities Partnership. For further inquiries, please contact Kyoung-Hee Kim at UNC Charlotte. Let's continue to innovate and promote sustainable architecture for a better future.